I would like to tell you about my home. I live in a small town in the middle of a big city. This historic neighborhood seems to stand apart from the rest of Atlanta and fostered a strong sense of community for its many residents. This is Reynoldstown. Reynoldstown is located just a few miles east of downtown Atlanta. It is nestled between the Halsey train yard and two major roads, Moreland to the east and Memorial to the south. It is a very diverse neighborhood with working class families, young students like me, and families that have lived here for years. The nearby MARTA station is in walking distance of many homes and makes it easier for locals to get around the city. It is also a developing neighborhood, like most of Atlanta, with new construction projects on almost every corner. The neighborhood was first settled by freed slaves looking for work following the Civil War. After finding it at the train yard nearby, they settled in what would soon become Reynoldstown. It is said to be named after Madison Reynolds, a former slave and prominent landowner who operated a store on Wiley Street that still stands today. The neighborhood became part of the city of Atlanta in 1909 and was an almost entirely black neighborhood for many years. When the railroad closed in the 1950s, Reynoldstown began to decline as residents moved out. During the 90s, people of all backgrounds began moving back in as the Atlanta area began to gentrify. Today, it is a diverse and thriving neighborhood that is still connected to its history and culture. These many stages in the history of Reynoldstown have created a very interesting mix of homes. There are old houses and buildings that have been here for decades in between new, modern-style homes. Both Reynoldstown and the neighboring Cabbagetown are known for their brightly colored houses and art-filled yards. The streets are filled with many shades of blue, purple, and pink buildings that catch your eye as you pass. Walking through the neighborhood, the sense of community is apparent in the flags, artwork, and signs displayed prominently on many front porches and lawns. Almost every empty wall has been covered in beautiful murals or local street art. In the center of the neighborhood is Lange Carson Park and Recreation Center, where community meetings are held every month. It has a large field, a basketball court, tennis court, and a playground. It also hosts the local Wheelbarrow Festival, which is held every year to support the neighborhood and local charities. The Eastside Beltline Trail also cuts through the Reynoldstown neighborhood. Recently expanded in the last year, the new Beltline runs east along Wiley Street from Krog Tunnel. The wall separating it from the train yard is filled with beautiful murals painted by local artists, and people can always be found enjoying the trail. Eventually, it turns south again and will continue to encircle the city in the coming years. The Beltline is even proposed to include Lange Carson Park, with plans to renovate it if eventually approved. In addition to the many people living there, Reynoldstown is also home to many businesses and charities that are just as much a part of the community. In the heart of Reynoldstown is Park Grounds, a coffee shop and bar that also includes a dog park. A favorite of the many dog owners in the neighborhood, it also supports some of the local parks. Another popular spot is Homegrown, a small diner located on Memorial at the edge of the neighborhood. They serve fresh and delicious breakfast foods and is often packed on the weekend. Down the street is the Atlanta location of Habitat for Humanity, which builds affordable low-income houses around the world. This location has built more than 1,200 homes in the Atlanta area since 1983. Next door is the headquarters of Trees Atlanta, a charity that plants trees to beautify and bring nature into the city. Walking through the neighborhood, you can see many trees and gardens that have been planted by the charity. Although it is a very small neighborhood of Atlanta, Reynoldstown has a very rich history and thriving community. Its beautiful homes and many parks create a serene atmosphere in an otherwise bustling city. It has grown and changed a lot over the past 100 years and continues to foster a sense of community for all that live there. Hopefully, you can come and visit our home.